I measure distance in porch steps and petty favors. The Hart place has both. 6 boards from gate to door and a tray of blueberry scones that's supposed to make inspectors forget about unpermitted patio heaters. I don't forget. Olivia Hart, queen of manicured lawns and low-stakes scandals, flutters beside me in a robe that matches her hydrangeas. She calls it casual coordination. I call it performance art. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Claire, darling, it's just a little heater, she says, waving at the offending chrome cylinder like it's an exotic pet. We hosted the board last month, and no one mentioned a thing. Probably because it was 40 degrees, I say, scanning the serial number and jotting it on my clipboard. They were too cold to talk. She laughs the way people do when they're deciding if they should be insulted. You're so funny. Daniel must love having a wife who sees every detail. Daniel loves automation more than he loves people, I reply before I can stop myself. I smile, pretending it's a joke. Olivia tilts her head. Automation? He's into smart homes, doors that talk back, lights that learn your habits. I tap my pen. I'm still waiting for one that makes coffee without an attitude. We exchange polite waves as I leave. My city-issued Prius hums down the street lined with houses that all look mildly smug. A few yards over, Trent Caldwell's new mailbox gleams, technically 2 inches too close to the curb. I'll let it slide, for now. My job as a municipal code inspector isn't glamorous, but it teaches you how much trouble people go through to hide small things. By the time I pull into our driveway, Daniel's car isn't there. Again. The house looks picture-perfect, staged for an open house. Spotless counters, symmetrical cushions, that faint smell of sandalwood. Daniel insists relaxes clients. It relaxes me too, mostly because it covers the scent of burnt toast. I hang my keys and open my tablet to check the day's notes, half out of habit. The screen lights with the last synced notification from Daniel's smartwatch, his account linked to mine for efficiency. I told him to unlink it months ago, but he claimed he liked knowing when I was on my way home. Now I wish he hadn't. A message preview glows. Made it home yet? Miss those late nights? Not from me. Not from any vendor I know. I stare at it, long enough for the screen to dim and disappear. I set the tablet down, slow and deliberate. This isn't the kind of proof that screams. It hums, soft and smug. I pick up the mail, bills, catalogs, a charity flyer, and focus on breathing evenly. My mind catalogs the emojis like evidence tags. Citrus, 3 of them. A private language, maybe. Daniel always said Jenna Hollis was fresh and vibrant. Citrus enough for me. By 6, I'm at the community gym, pretending to stretch while overhearing Olivia whisper to Megan Liu about a group chat called Yard of the Month. It's the sort of suburban league where people compete over curb appeal and passive-aggressive captions. I scroll through my phone under the table and spot the same chat name on my neighborhood feed. I'm not invited. But a photo's public, Daniel and Jenna at a hardware store, her hand on his arm, the caption, perfect team energy. From Trent's wife. I run 2 extra miles on the treadmill. Dinner that night is salmon, roasted vegetables, and polite silence. Daniel arrives late, wearing the easy grin that could sell air conditioners in Antarctica. Rough day? He asks, dropping his keys in the ceramic bowl I bought at a craft fair he never attended. Routine, I say, pouring wine. Olivia's still ignoring heater codes. What about you? Still fixing people's thermostats? He chuckles. We upgraded a townhouse downtown. Big job, Jenna and I. He stops, maybe realizing he said her name too easily. We had to troubleshoot some scheduling stuff. Troubleshooting, I repeat. Sounds complicated. It's work, Claire. Don't start reading into everything. He leans in, that salesman's tone softening. We're on the edge of landing a new contract. I just need focus. Focus, I echo. You mean fewer questions? Exactly. He kisses my forehead, the kind of contact that feels rehearsed. You overthink. I inspect. I correct. He laughs, walks upstairs to shower, and I stay at the table, staring at the flickering candle between us. Later, while he hums through the water pipes, I open our shared cloud drive. It was meant for family photos and household files, receipts, warranties, things responsible couples keep. A new folder sits at the top. Operations, After Hours. The thumbnails show images from a smart home demo. Jenna in a blazer, hair tucked, laughing under soft LED lights. My jacket on her shoulders. The same one Daniel borrowed last month for marketing photos. I click through quietly, like peeling wallpaper. Each image clean, professional, plausible. But there's something about her posture, the way Daniel's reflection leans in every glass surface. I close the laptop. The room hums with the sound of appliances breathing. The refrigerator, the air purifier, the faint rhythm of Daniel moving upstairs. Every machine in this house works perfectly. That's the problem. At work the next day, I inspect a row of new duplexes. A contractor named Milo tries to talk me out of citing him for missing downspouts. No one's ever noticed before, he says. I'm not everyone, I tell him, tapping my pen on the clipboard. By noon, I've built a mental list titled, Reasons My Marriage Feels Like a Building with Hidden Violations. 1. Excess charm covering structural issues. 2. Repeated changes to the floor plan without permits. 3. An owner who insists everything's fine as long as it looks good from the street. At 3, Barbara Whitman calls. Daniel's mother never wastes time on greetings. Claire, dear, the HOA gala is next month. Daniel says you've been busy with work. Try not to overcommit, yes? We need fresh faces for the sponsor table. I grip the phone tighter. I'll check my schedule. I hope you do, she says sweetly. These events reflect on the family. I'm sure they do. She pauses. Everything all right between you two? Everything looks perfect, I reply, echoing her favorite word. That night, Daniel suggests takeout. He scrolls his phone mid-conversation, smiling at something. When I ask, he says, Work meme. Let me see. He flips the screen down. It's stupid. So am I sometimes, I say lightly, though my chest feels like it's holding a secret too big to fit. He doesn't notice. He never does when he's certain he's winning. Friday brings a dinner invite from Trent and Olivia. I go, because skipping would look suspicious, and because curiosity is stronger than dignity. Their backyard twinkles with string lights, the same model Daniel installed here last year. Jenna's there, of course, wearing a dress that could double as a strategic statement. Claire, she chirps, all brightness. Heard you're keeping the city running one porch at a time. Trying to, I say, steady. And you? Keeping Daniel's schedule airtight? She laughs, a little too loud. He'd be lost without me. I've heard. Trent raises a glass. To the Whitmans, the power couple of the neighborhood. Everyone claps, because that's what people do when politeness costs less than honesty. I lift my glass, smile, and take a slow sip. Power couple indeed. Halfway through dessert, Daniel announces, We're expanding operations next quarter. Jenna's taking on more responsibility. Barbara, seated like royalty near the center, nods approvingly. She's a smart girl. You could learn from her, Claire. Some initiative never hurts. I almost laugh. Initiative, I think, is all I have left. Back home, Daniel collapses on the couch, shoes still on. I clean the dishes, each clink of porcelain a steady metronome for my thoughts. When the last glass is dry, I open my calendar and create a new event. Site walk, JH. Sunday, 10 a.m. Location, unlisted boutique condo downtown. I saw it on his tablet earlier under shared schedules. Not part of any active contract, I know. I don't delete it, I just color-code it red. Saturday passes in polite silence. Daniel tinkers in the garage, pretending to reorganize tools. I check municipal databases, scanning permit filings tied to his company. A few are routine. One stands out, an application for an independent consulting project. Same address as Sunday's site walk. I print the page, fold it once, slide it into my notebook. By nightfall, the air smells like rain and fertilizer. Neighbors host a block gathering. Laughter drifts through screens. Daniel steps onto the porch with a beer. Want to join? He asks. I'm good. He shrugs. People are starting to talk, you know. You're quieter lately. Maybe I'm inspecting. For what? Leaks, he chuckles. You worry too much. Occupational hazard. He kisses my cheek, a quick, clean gesture, and heads across the street to mingle. I watch through the window as Jenna appears, arriving late, hair perfect, laughter louder than the music. Daniel leans in to hear her better. I turn away. I spend the rest of the evening on my laptop, drafting a permit request of my own, community movie night next Saturday. Neighborhood Engagement Initiative, I title it. Outdoor projection on the Whitman lawn, open to all residents. The permit passes review instantly, perks of knowing the system. When Daniel returns, smelling of barbecue smoke and approval, I'm already in bed pretending to sleep. He slides beside me, scrolling his phone. A faint light flickers across the sheets. I glimpse his reflection in the mirror, smiling at something private. I close my eyes and start planning. Sunday arrives bright and smug, the way suburbs always look before a storm. Daniel dresses in his consulting casual, dark jeans, pressed shirt, that confident air of someone who believes the world is a controlled environment. He kisses my hair, says, "Don't wait up," and leaves with a travel mug of coffee. I wait exactly 3 minutes before grabbing my field jacket and notebook. Downtown, the boutique condo sits between a juice bar and a gallery that sells art made of reclaimed wood. I park across the street at a cafe window seat, notebook open, coffee untouched. Through the glass, I watch Daniel and Jenna step into the lobby, laughing. A delivery truck unloads panels labeled Hollis Home Systems. Not his company's brand. Interesting. I note the time, the license plate, the delivery service. Old habits die hard. When a receptionist unlocks the glass door, I catch a glimpse of Daniel adjusting Jenna's collar, intimate but plausible. She grins up at him like they share a secret grammar. I stir my coffee and write, "Proof hums, never shouts." When they reappear an hour later, Daniel carries a rolled blueprint tube, Jenna scrolling her phone. They separate at the curb. He heads for his car. She walks toward the parking garage. I follow at a distance, pretending to read my clipboard. The garage air smells like oil and echoes. Jenna fumbles for her key fob, unaware of me. I approach the attendant booth. "Morning," I say. "I'm with the city inspection office. Any chance you've logged unauthorized vendor parking this week?" He shrugs. "Only that gray SUV, 3rd level. No permit on file." "Mind if I take a quick look?" "Be my guest." I climb the ramp slowly. Jenna's SUV gleams near a concrete pillar, her company logo half peeled on the window. I take a photo of the expired permit sticker. Legal, factual, harmless, for now. When I turn, she's behind me. "Claire," she says, breathless. "What are you doing here?" "Checking compliance." I smile thinly. "Yours seems overdue." Her jaw tightens. "You're crossing lines." "Only the painted ones," I say, gesturing to the yellow stripe beneath us. She folds her arms. "Daniel told me you were intense, but this—" "Daniel tells people a lot of things," I interrupt. "Do you know he still shares his smartwatch account with me? It's amazing what syncs when you forget to change settings." Her eyes flicker. I slide my phone from my pocket, not to record, just to scroll through the image of the emojis. I hold it up for half a second. "Recognize these?" She doesn't answer. "I'd be careful," I say softly. Our neighborhood's small. Permits vanish, cars get ticketed, reputations travel faster than sprinkler rumors. Jenna recovers her composure, lifts her chin. "You wouldn't." "You don't know me," I reply. I walk away, heels echoing through the garage. Behind me, her car alarm chirps once, faint and nervous. Outside, the air smells of wet pavement and coffee. I stand under a low awning, watching Daniel's car pull into traffic. My reflection in the glass looks calm, almost satisfied. In my head, I mark Sunday on the calendar the way a gardener marks crabgrass. Early, deliberate, with quiet certainty it'll spread. The cafe across from the boutique condo pretends it's European because it stacks croissants like a skyline, all butter and bravado. I order a coffee I won't drink and plant myself at the window with my notebook open to blank lines. I've learned that if you look like paperwork, people assume you belong. At 9:57, Daniel and Jenna appear on the sidewalk, framed by the reflection of the juice bar's neon citrus sign. He's in the same pressed shirt from this morning. She's in a blazer that says, "I run everything important. They don't touch, they don't have to." The line between them has the easy shape of routine. They step into the lobby, all glass and brushed steel. From my seat, I can see the receptionist's desk and the elevator bank. A delivery guy holds the door with a foot while he scans a clipboard. The label on the pallet reads Hollis Home Systems, not Whitman Integrations. I underline the company name 3 times. If this is consulting, it's the kind where someone else's logo takes the bow. 10 minutes later, a courier arrives with a tube for Suite 5A. I angle my phone as if checking the time and catch the sender. A lighting designer whose invoices I know too well. I log names, timestamps, little crumbs that make up the loaf. If anyone asks why I'm staring, I'll say I'm trying to remember a pastry order. Half the city's working memory is pastry adjacent. At 10:13, the elevator opens. Daniel steps out with that polished, efficient walk he uses with clients. Jenna is just behind him, laughing at something he says in a voice I recognize from late-night phone calls he claims are about thermostats. He adjusts her collar, quick and careful, like he's fixing a setting. She doesn't flinch. She's used to it. They pass so close to my window that I could put my hand out and touch their reflections. I keep still. Daniel scans for his car at the curb. It's not there, because he parked around the corner near a meter that eats coins for sport. Jenna peels off toward the garage ramp with her keys out, eyes on her phone. I leave cash under my saucer and step into the street just as a bus exhales. Timing matters. I walk slowly enough to seem aimless, quickly enough to keep them both in range. It feels like inspecting a corridor after a remodel. You can tell exactly where the builder tried to hide a seam. Jenna disappears down the concrete slope. Daniel checks his watch. His watch, which pings my tablet at home with cheerful loyalty, and heads for the meter. I could stop him. I could press my palms flat against his back and say, "Tell me the name of the citrus." Instead, I duck into the lobby as the automatic door sighs shut. Inside, the air smells like eucalyptus and something expensive that wants to be subtle. The receptionist looks up, sees my clipboard, and visibly relaxes. Bureaucracy is the best costume. It promises inconvenience, but rarely delivers anything dramatic. "Hi," I say. "City Inspection Office. Quick question on vendor access." She nods, typing before I'm done speaking. "We've had a few contractors this morning. Everything on the list?" "I'm sure," I say. "Just confirming sticker locations." She points to a stand with visitor badges. I take a spare, write down the color and date, thank her, and drift toward the elevators. There's a bulletin board between the doors, a notice about quiet hours, another about a community donation drive, and an index card with a phone number offering smart home tutoring for new residents. The number isn't Daniel's. I fold that detail and put it in my pocket with the others. Back outside, Daniel is already driving away. I watch his taillights vanish under the L tracks. Jenna hasn't reappeared. I make for the garage, the kind with low ceilings that make you duck even if you're short. It smells like dust and accomplishment. At the booth, the attendant looks up from a crossword. He's got the patient eyes of someone who has witnessed every version of a couple's argument from behind safety glass. "Morning," I say. "Inspection office. We've been getting complaints about vendor parking." He shrugs. "They always try to run up without tickets. I send them back." "Appreciated," I say, glancing at the printed rules on the wall. "All vehicles must display current permits. No exceptions. Violators will be towed." Beautiful, simple language. I'd frame it over my kitchen sink if Daniel wouldn't replace it with a digital display that dims itself at sunset. "Third level," he adds, unprompted. "Gray SUV with a half-peeled logo. Been there since last week. They keep saying they're in and out." "Any validation slips on file?" He flips a clipboard. "Not for them." "Mind if I take a look?" He waves me through. "If you find the magic words that make people read signs, let me know." I climb the ramp, counting yellow stripes. The third level is half full, shafts of light sliding through the gaps. Jenna's SUV crouches beside a pillar, logo curling away from the glass like a secret trying to escape. I take a photo of the windshield where last month's permit curls at the corner, then step back as she appears at the driver's door, keys in hand. "Again," she says, not surprised. "Claire, inspecting the air?" "Compliance. It's a hobby," I reply. She looks past me to the security camera. Her tone moves into sales mode. Open posture, softened consonants. "Do you want to keep playing these little games? I have a lot on my plate." I'm not here to play," I say. "I'm here to tell you you're overdue for a permit and dangerously overconfident." She leans on the door, eyes narrow. "You're not thinking clearly. You're spiraling." "I'm measuring," I correct. "There's a difference." "Daniel said you'd make everything complicated," she says. "It's a weird talent." "Complicated is your company name showing up on deliveries while your your boss, says he's on independent contracts at the same address. I'm sure the billing is crystal." Her mouth tightens. "You don't know what's between us." "No," I say, and allow myself the smallest smile. "But I know what's between your bumper and the floor. A yellow line that means you'll get towed if you keep testing posted hours during street cleaning week. Just a friendly tip." She unlocks the door and slides into the driver's seat. I hold the door frame for a beat so she has to look up at me. "I've been very patient," I say softly. "Don't mistake quiet for weak." "Is that a threat?" "It's a schedule," I say, and let go. She starts the engine with a clipped motion and pulls out, tires chirping against paint. I wait until she's gone before I look up at the camera and offer it my professional smile. Cameras love a smile. It helps later when people invent stories. In the stairwell, an advertisement for the charity gala flutters on a bulletin board. The sponsor list reads like a seating chart for people who exchange favors disguised as raffle baskets. Whitman Integration sits second row, column 3, next to a foundation Barbara basically runs. I take a photo and tell myself I'm collecting stamps. Outside again, I walk the block once. The condo's landscaping is meticulous, boxwoods trimmed like geometry, uplights installed at perfect intervals. Exactly the kind of attention Daniel respects in public and ignores at home. I head back to the cafe, order a second coffee, and copy notes into clean lines. Names, times, logos, the way Daniel adjusted Jenna's collar with expert hands. None of it is a smoking gun. It's more dangerous than that. It's 1,000 teaspoons of smoke that blend into the air you breathe until you don't remember what clean air felt like. On the drive back to the suburbs, my phone pings with a message from Barbara. No greeting. We should talk about the sponsor board placement. You've been hard to reach. I stare at the text until the light turns green, then voice reply through the car system so my hands look busy even to myself. I'm finalizing a community event permit for next Saturday. I'll email you details. She responds instantly. What event? Outdoor film night, I say. Family friendly. Make sure it's tasteful, she writes. Optics matter. They do, I agree, and hang up before my voice says something my brain will admire and regret. Back home, the lawn looks sincere and a little guilty. I can relate. I spend an hour reading HOA bylaws like bedtime stories. The sections on shared spaces are highlighted. So are the rules on public projections, decibel limits, and enforcement of street sweeping. I send the final permit confirmation and tack it to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a tiny house that once made me smile. Daniel texts at 2. Wrapping up. Home around 4. Want anything? I stare at the message long enough to see my own reflection in each letter. A receipt. I type, then delete it. No, thanks. At 3, I call the city's records office to file 2 requests. The first is for any HOA email threads mentioning vendor conflicts in the last 6 months. The second is for permits filed by Whitman Integrations that overlap with Hollis Home Systems at the same addresses. I use neutral language and precise dates. The clerk on the other end sounds grateful I know how to ask for things without turning them into puzzles. You might get some redactions, she warns. Redactions are fine, I say. They're honest about their own limits. When Daniel walks in at 4, I'm in the backyard with a tape measure, mapping projection distances like I'm building a tiny drive-in. He kisses the top of my head. The contact feels formal, like a handshake you're supposed to pretend is affectionate. What are you doing? He asks. Planning movie night, I say. Neighborhood engagement. It's good optics. Since when do you care about optics? He grins to soften it. I thought you cared about rules. They're cousins, I say. Raised together, went to different colleges. He laughs and heads inside. Through the kitchen window, I see him take his phone from his pocket and turn away toward the pantry to text. The pantry that we remodeled last year because he said the old shelves were inescapably inconvenient. I've been told the same thing, in other words. I spend the evening on logistics, extension cords, cable covers, speaker placement that obeys decibel caps. I map it all with quiet joy. Control is a set of boxes you check so the house stays yours. After midnight, when Daniel's breathing slows beside me, I slide out of bed and open the shared tablet on the dresser. I scroll to our calendars and check the Sunday event. Site walk, JH. It's marked complete, green checkmark, like a chore someone did for gold stars. I click through to see the address history. A small breadcrumb trail appears. 2 prior, independent visits to the same building, both on evenings when Daniel told me he was stuck in traffic. I close my eyes and count to 10. When I open them, the calendar glows the same calm green. Nothing in this house changes its mind. Monday morning, my inbox coughs up a reply to the request for HOA emails. It's an acknowledgement, not a response, but I'm grateful for the paper trail. The city doesn't move fast, but it moves. I pack a lunch and leave early so I can stop by the nursery before inspections. I tell myself I need potting soil. That's partly true. What I need more is context. The nursery is a maze of green rooms. A teen in a blue apron rings up my soil and a packet of seeds with a name that sounds like a hymn. He leans on the counter, bored in that specific way teenagers hone like a craft. You're the Whitmans, right? He says, as if I'm 2 people. Just one of us, I say. Cool, he says. I sold your husband and his coworker a set of topiaries last week. Giant spirals. He said they were a surprise. He grins as if he's part of a pleasant secret. Are you redoing the yard? I blink. Spirals? Like these, he says, tapping a catalog photo I've dog-eared. The exact design board I made in the spring, the one Daniel called too formal and cold, the one I thought we'd revisit next year when the budget allowed. He said they were special order, so we set them aside. I feel nothing dramatic, just a neat click inside my head like a drawer closing. Do you remember when he picked them up? Thursday, he says, late. He almost missed us. Parking was wild. Street sweeping is messing with everyone. Where did he say he was taking them? He frowns, thinking. He just said, client showcase. Then the woman with him said, she'll love it, which I guess meant you. He smiles, pleased with his own helpfulness. She will, I say, and it comes out so even that I surprise myself. Thanks for the soil. I carry the bags to the car and sit with the door open, air smelling like damp bark and good intentions. A spiral topiary is a choice you make when you want the world to believe in the shape you're forcing on it. You twist growth until it pretends to be a column. Beautiful, if you like the illusion. On the drive to my first inspection, I pass a street sweeping sign. Temporary no parking, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. The city doesn't play games at that hour. It enforces without flourish. I pull over and type a note to myself. Capital letters marching, Jenna, overnight street sweeping, boot tow, only if posted. No exceptions. I don't have to do anything to her car. The city will do it for me if I simply let the rules breathe. At lunch, I sit in my own car with the window cracked and read more of the HOA bylaws, mouth moving silently over phrases like conflict of interest and vendor transparency. They are dull, earnest words, perfect for the work of quietly toppling a pedestal. A text from Olivia arrives. Movie night? Saw the permit notice. Cute idea. Need help? Translation. Would you like me to stand near you while gathering new material for the group chat? I'm set. I reply. Bring a blanket. And an appetite for trailers. She sends a string of heart-eye emojis. Citrus would have been more honest. On my way home, I stop by a print shop and order a stack of lawn signs. Community movie night. Saturday, 8 p.m. In small letters at the bottom, please observe posted parking rules. The printer raises an eyebrow at that line. I smile. Experience, I say. The signs go up before sunset. Corners, intersections, the edge of our yard where the lawn looks extra virtuous. Daniel watches me push the last stake into the ground. Going big, he says. We own a projector and a sheet, I say. I'm just acknowledging reality. He gestures toward the living room. I was thinking we could do a test run tonight. Good idea, I say. We don't want any surprises. He grins and kisses my cheek. I like it when you're fun. I'm always fun, I say. You just mislabel it. After dinner, he lugs the projector outside and we point it at the garage. We stream a reel of vintage trailers, dancing concessions, cars gliding through perfect streets where no one has HOA dues. The neighbors drift over, drawn by the novelty and the promise of being seen enjoying something wholesome. Trent brings folding chairs. Olivia brings a tray of store-bought cookies arranged like a handmade miracle. Jenna arrives last, parking her SUV across the street under a temporary sign that glows in the streetlight. No parking. Street sweeping, 2 to 6 a.m. She steps out in a jacket that still has a boutique tag loop tucked inside the collar and hands Daniel a paper bag. He thanks her with the kind of smile he used to save for me. I keep my face neutral. Let the camera in the sky record all the politeness it wants. Great idea, she says to me, voice bright. This really brings people together. Isn't that the point? I say. Community. We watch the trailers. At 9, the sprinklers kick on in a neat row across the adjacent lawns. Daniel flinches and then laughs at himself for flinching. The projector flickers and corrects. The crowd murmurs approvingly. I sip lemonade and pretend to relax. Inside, the math keeps calculating. At 10:30, people begin to fold chairs and hug and say how nice it is to feel like a neighborhood. Jenna lingers, talking with Daniel under the elm. When she finally walks to her car, she waves at me. I wave back. She unlocks the door. The SUV's lights blink. Then she sees the sign. For a moment, confusion and annoyance flicker across her face like clouds across a pool. You might want to move it after midnight, I call lightly. Street sweeping. She hesitates, then shrugs with a look that says rules are for other people and slides into the seat. The door closes, the engine purrs. She drives away to find a legal spot, or maybe she gambles. Either way, the sign doesn't care. It has one job and no patience. When the last folding chair leans against our fence and Daniel carries the projector inside, I stand in the driveway and stare at the dark street where the sign glows. I think about the nursery teens grin, the topiaries that mimic the design I loved, lifted whole and planted wherever they wanted. I think about citrus, and collars adjusted, and company logos peeled half away from glass like truths that don't like to stick. A breeze lifts the corner of the movie screen still clipped to the garage. It snaps once and settles. Somewhere down the block, a sprinkling system sputters, recovers, and returns to its routine. I check my watch and draw a small X next to Saturday on my calendar, then another one next to Sunday. I am not calm. I am not wild. I am a person who knows where the signs go and what happens when you ignore them. Monday's air feels like it's holding a grudge. Thick, sticky, and restless. The kind of day that makes even well-trimmed lawns look suspicious. By noon, thunder's mumbling in the distance. Lazy, but certain. My phone buzzes with another HOA reminder about the upcoming gala. I delete it without reading the rest. My calendar's already full, with better events. After lunch, I park outside Bloom and Root, the same nursery the teen mentioned. Rows of plants stand like soldiers, glossy leaves quivering under storm-heavy air. I spot the topiaries near the back. 2 perfect spirals, rainwater still clinging to the edges of each coil. The sight lands like a slow slap. Those were mine. My design, my pinned board, my patient dream. Daniel once called them too formal. Now they're apparently client appropriate. I crouch to check the tag. Paid, Whitman Integrations. The handwriting isn't his, it's Jenna's. Her sharp, round letters look confident enough to sign someone else's life. Need help loading those? Asks the same teen from before, wheeling a cart. His apron is wetter than logic would allow. No thanks, I say, and pull out my phone to take a discreet picture. Just admiring the craftsmanship. He shrugs. People love symmetry. Makes them feel safe. Until they realize it's fake, I mutter. The sky cracks, one long streak of light cutting the horizon. The storm's finally decided to join the conversation. Daniel's truck is parked near the front, hazard lights blinking. Of course he's here. Rain begins to thicken, heavy drops staining my sleeves. I watch him load the first spiral topiary into the truck bed, careful, precise, like he's moving something sacred. Hey, I say, stepping closer. He turns, startled but recovering fast. Claire, didn't expect... What are you doing here? Buying dirt. His laugh is too quick. Of course you are. And you? Client order, he says, tapping the truck. Big install tonight. In the rain? He shrugs, still wearing that easy charm that could probably sell sand in a flood. We promised a timeline. Interesting word choice. Don't start. I didn't. I cross my arms. You did, apparently with Jenna. He blinks. What? I gesture at the tag. Her handwriting, her project code. The same topiaries I wanted for our yard. You said no, remember? Daniel sighs, drops his voice like we're conspirators. Claire, you're connecting dots that don't exist. Jenna helps with vendor relations. That's it. Thunder rumbles again, closer this time, as if nature itself is calling him out. Right, I say. And the emoji messages? The weekend meetings? The late-night consulting? Strictly photosynthesis? His jaw tightens. You went through my messages? I didn't have to. Technology's honest, even when you aren't. God, Claire, you're exhausting. You say that like it's news. Rain starts coming sideways, fat drops turning soil into mud. I take a step back, shoes sinking slightly. Let's not do this here, he says. People can see. Perfect, I say, raising my voice just enough to carry over the storm. Let them. Daniel looks around, embarrassed. 2 workers pretend to rearrange ferns while clearly listening. He grabs the second topiary, shoves it into the truck, and slams the tailgate. Get in. We'll talk at home, he says. No thanks, I reply. I'm not climbing into your getaway car. He scowls. You're overreacting. I'm reacting exactly as the facts demand. Lightning splits the sky again, and for a second, his face glows silver, like a statue cracking. He wipes rain from his forehead, opens his mouth, then closes it again. He doesn't have the right words, because there aren't any. You always think you're smarter, he mutters. I don't think, I say. I verify. He climbs into the driver's seat and peels away, tires throwing water over my shins. I stand there, soaked, notebook clutched like armor. By the time I get home, the storm's turned the sky into a bruise. I toss my jacket in the sink, type up a report of what I saw, and email it to myself. Subject line, Nursery, Topiary Purchase. I don't trust memories alone anymore. The next morning, the city's records office sends the first batch of FOIA results. 17 emails between HEOA board members discussing vendor coordination concerns. One jumps out, Barbara Whitman to the treasurer. If Claire resists, Daniel has a plan to ensure stability. The date, 3 weeks ago. My stomach folds in on itself. I scroll again, slower this time. Attached to Barbara's message is a draft refinancing update. My name's there. My signature, scanned from last year's paperwork, an addendum about home improvement escrow oversight. It transfers control to Daniel for all property upgrades. It's legal, it's subtle, it's theft with manners. I print it and lay it on the counter beside my coffee cup. The ink glistens slightly, as if smug. When Daniel strolls in, freshly shaved and smelling like ambition, I slide the papers toward him. Care to explain this? He squints at the heading, then chuckles. You found that? It's just an old draft Barbara suggested. Nothing finalized. It's signed. Digitally. You know how automatic systems are. I know exactly how they are, I say. They only use stored signatures when someone authorizes them. He shrugs. Maybe a glitch. You should really stop using words you don't understand. His voice hardens. You're twisting everything. I'm trying to build something for us, and you're nitpicking. Building? I laugh. That's what you call hiding assets under stability clauses? Claire, no, I cut in. You don't get to play expert in deception. I inspect for a living, remember? I see the rot first. He grabs his keys. I don't have time for this. Of course not, I say. You've got a timeline. Or a date. Hard to tell these days. The door slams. Cabinets tremble. I lean against the counter, breathing slow, steady, professional. Then I open a new document on my laptop titled Plan. Structural Corrections. Step 1. Leverage the same systems that underestimated me. Step 2. Expose the rot under perfect siding. Step 3. Make sure it's all entirely legal. That night, Olivia drops by with a casserole she didn't make. Just checking in, she says sweetly. People have noticed Daniel's been distant. People? I ask. She lowers her voice. Megan said she saw him with someone at the nursery during the storm. Imagine that, I say. I'm sure it's nothing, Olivia continues, but her eyes sparkle with the thrill of maybe it's something. You know how rumors grow. Yes, I say, taking the dish. Like mold. After she leaves, I scrape the untouched casserole into the compost bin. At least something useful can come of it. I spend the next 2 days quietly tightening bolts, cross-referencing permits, tracing vendor codes, building a map of small truths that, when lined up, create a weapon sharper than anger. On Thursday night, Daniel hosts a strategy session at the house. Jenna arrives 20 minutes early, pretending not to see my car in the driveway. Her SUV, I notice, still wears the same expired permit tag. Perfect. Street sweeping happens again tonight. When she steps onto the porch, I open the door before she can knock. You're early, I say. Work ethic, she replies, with that smile she's probably practiced in reflective glass. Permit expired, I say, nodding toward her car. She blinks. What? Sticker, out of date. Enforcement's strict here. Wouldn't want a misunderstanding. I'll move it later. Later might be too late, I say pleasantly, and close the door before she can answer. Inside, Daniel's setting up his projector for what he calls a presentation. I call it foreplay for investors. I hover just long enough for Jenna to feel me in the room. She laughs too loud at something he says. I take notes on the sound. When the meeting ends after 10, she leaves first. The faint beep of her car unlocking carries through the open window, then the sputter of an engine that doesn't start. Another beep, a frustrated sigh. A tow truck groans down the street, orange lights flashing. I don't move from the window as the driver hooks her SUV to the hitch, chatting cheerfully about posted hours. She argues. He points to the sign. The same sign I requested last week. Rules, after all, are everyone's problem eventually. Daniel appears behind me, watching. Did you? Me? I interrupt. No, the city did. They enforce without bias. He stares at me, something close to recognition flickering across his face. Then he walks away. I watch the tow truck turn the corner and vanish into the rain that started again, soft but insistent. The neighborhood hums quietly around me, windows glowing, sprinklers ticking, the illusion of peace holding like fresh paint over cracks. I glance down at the papers on the counter, Barbara's signature and mine dancing together in black ink. My next move clicks into place with satisfying precision. The storm outside isn't the problem, it's the one inside that's finally under my control. The morning after Jenna's towing mishap, the neighborhood group chat buzzes like an angry hive. Someone posts, "Does anyone know why that silver SUV was hauled off last night? Looked like the driver was arguing with the tow guy for half an hour." Replies flood in, cheerful under the disguise of concern. Poor thing. Rules are rules. I hope this isn't about politics again. I sip my coffee and scroll. No one tags me, but they all know I saw it. Daniel leaves early. He avoids my eyes and pretends his cereal needs more attention than I do. When the door closes, silence returns. Clean, efficient, loyal. I use it to finish step 2 of my plan, preparing for the community movie night, which is no longer about community or movies. By 5 p.m., the lawn is a stage. Folding chairs line up like obedient jurors. The sheet Daniel bought for our anniversary hangs tight against the garage. Perfect projection surface. I've tested the volume, the lighting, and the angle from every neighbor's porch. If there's one thing suburban living teaches you, it's sightlines. Everyone wants to see everything, especially what they're not supposed to. Trent's wife, Kelly, walks over with a tray of drinks. "This is so wholesome," she says. "You're setting a new bar for block spirit." "Bars are easy," I say, straight-faced. Keeping them stable is harder. She blinks, unsure whether to laugh. I hand her a plastic cup and move on. As the sun dips, the yard fills with familiar chatter. Olivia positions herself at the center like she's the unofficial MC. Barbara arrives last, sweeping in with pearls and judgment, pretending she isn't shocked I invited the HOA's Queen Mother. "Claire," she says, air-kissing near my cheek. "How lovely to see you. Active." "I'm full of surprises," I reply. Daniel follows a few steps behind her, carrying the projector, cords tangled like intentions. "Got everything working," he announces, as if I hadn't already tested it twice. He sets it up while Jenna hovers nearby, in a dress that seems designed to shimmer under outdoor lights. She avoids my gaze, but keeps smiling at everyone else. Her voice is all sweetness, as if goodwill could erase a tow ticket. I pretend to focus on arranging snack trays, though every movement is deliberate. Tonight isn't about confrontation, it's about calibration. When the first trailer starts, people settle in with popcorn and wine spritzers, laughter bubbles. My heartbeat matches the hum of the projector fan. And then, perfectly timed, the accident. The playlist flicks to a short clip I cued earlier, a tech demo from Whitman Integrations, Daniel's proudest presentation. The footage starts clean, modern house, smooth voiceover, automated lighting. Then comes the chaos. Lights flash on and off, sprinklers erupt, doors jam shut. The voiceover stutters, "Smart, smart, smart," until it sounds like a warning. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Olivia whispers, "Is this part of the movie?" Daniel leaps to his feet, fumbling for the remote. "Sorry, wrong file." He laughs too loudly, but the damage is done. Barbara's eyes slice toward him. "Daniel," she says under her breath, "fix it, now." He yanks the cord. The projector dies. The yard fills with uncomfortable murmurs and the hiss of actual sprinklers that choose that precise moment to switch on automatically. I don't move. I just sip lemonade and watch the performance. Jenna rushes to help, her dress catching mist. The sprinklers glint off her sequins like the lawn itself is applauding irony. "System glitch," Daniel says, soaked and flustered. "We'll have it reset in a minute." I call out sweetly, "Guess even your smart homes have dumb days." A few neighbors laugh, cautiously. Daniel's jaw locks. He knows this isn't random. He just can't prove it. By the time the sprinklers stop, most guests are already collecting their chairs. Barbara's lips are a thin white line. "We'll discuss this later," she hisses at Daniel before marching to her car. Jenna follows, dripping and furious. She nearly trips on the curb. When she reaches her SUV, she stops short. A yellow notice flaps under her wiper. "Permit expired. Violation fee pending." Her voice cracks through the night. "Are you kidding me?" She rips the paper off and whirls around, eyes locking on me. "You did this." I shrug. "Public street, public rules." "You're unbelievable. And yet entirely within code." She storms over, waving the paper like evidence in a trial. "This harassment needs to stop." "You parked in a restricted zone again." "Because there's no space on this street thanks to your little event." "Which was permitted," I say. "Want to see the paperwork?" Daniel steps between us, voice tight. "Enough. Both of you." "She's sabotaging me," Jenna snaps. "I'm enforcing local law," I counter. Daniel glances between us, drenched and defeated. "For once in your life, Claire, could you not make everything about control?" I smile, slow and sharp. Control is all that's left when trust is gone. The neighbors pretend not to listen, while obviously doing exactly that. Olivia later will tell everyone she tried to calm things down. She didn't. She just watched, fascinated, like everyone else. Jenna flings the ticket toward me. It flutters, lands in the puddle by my foot. "Enjoy your little victory." "Oh, I plan to," I say. She spins on her heel and storms off, slipping slightly on the wet grass. I don't help her. Daniel lingers, glaring. You've gone too far. Not yet, I say quietly, but I'm getting there. He leaves without another word. The next morning, I submit 2 more requests to the city records department, one for subcontractor licenses under Hollis Home Systems, one for HOA vendor bids from Barbara's committee. The clerks probably think I'm running an expose. They're not entirely wrong. That evening, I sit in my car outside the town hall parking lot, reading the reply from my first request. The email attachment is a gem, Barbara's correspondence with the HOA treasurer discussing a housing stability solution. It references me directly. If Claire balks at refinancing, we'll need to execute the fallback clause. They weren't planning to leave me. They were planning to erase me. I rest my forehead on the steering wheel, not in despair, but in calculation. Every document, every smug line, every signature is a brick in the wall they built around my life. I just need to decide which one to pull first. That night, Daniel comes home late again. He smells like the rain-soaked nursery, earth and faint fertilizer. I'm at the table with printouts spread like playing cards. Busy? He asks. Productive, I reply. Planning another neighborhood event? Something like that. He eyes the papers. You've been filing a lot of things? Records are beautiful, I say. They never lie. People should try it sometime. He sets his briefcase down. You're scaring people. Only the guilty ones. Jenna's furious. Barbara's, well, you'll hear from her. I look forward to it. He leans against the counter. You can't win whatever game you think you're playing. I already am. He shakes his head, laughs softly. You always were dramatic. And you were always predictable. He walks off, muttering something I don't catch. The sound of the shower starts upstairs. Water pressure falters, just for a moment, then stabilizes. The system's been glitching lately, ever since I learned how to rename network devices. The next morning, my permit for the HOA meeting's public comment section is approved. I'll have exactly 5 minutes to speak about smart device disturbances and vendor conflicts. That's all I'll need. I spend the next few days preparing visuals, not accusations, charts, invoices, and a few carefully worded questions that sound civic-minded but land like darts. When the night comes, the meeting hall smells like disinfectant and baked cookies. Barbara sits at the head table in her pearl armor. Daniel's beside her, looking tense. Jenna hovers near the coffee urn, eyes sharp but tired. I take the microphone when my name's called. Good evening, I begin. I'm Claire Whitman, property owner at 312 Maple Ridge. I'd like to address some recurring issues with vendor transparency. Barbara forces a smile. Briefly, please. Of course, I say. Residents have noticed certain service providers working under multiple company names, creating confusion about accountability. For instance, Hollis Home Systems and Whitman Integrations share overlapping clients and even project addresses. I'm sure that's just an oversight, but it does raise questions. A low murmur stirs through the crowd. I continue, calm, crisp. Also, some board members appear on correspondence discussing financial oversight clauses that impact homeowners' autonomy. Barbara stiffens. That's out of order. Transparency is always in order, I say, my voice steady. And since this body values integrity, I'll forward my documentation to all members tomorrow. Someone claps, nervously, but it starts a chain. Barbara bangs her gavel once, too late. The sound doesn't stop the ripple of whispers. I thank the board and step down. Daniel avoids my eyes. Jenna keeps hers on the floor. As I reach the door, the sky outside splits open again, rain thundering against the windows. Perfect timing. On my way out, I overhear Barbara hiss to Daniel, You let her do this. You taught her. I smile, unseen. They're right. He did. The rain greets me like applause as I step outside. My reflection in the puddles looks calm, almost kind. The storm has rhythm now, and for once, it plays in my favor. Inside, voices rise and clash, muffled by the downpour. I let them. The water will wash their words clean soon enough. Tomorrow, the headlines in our little HOA newsletter will read something polite like, Resident raises concerns over vendor practices. They won't mention how Barbara's voice cracked or how Daniel's face turned a shade too pale. But I will remember. By the time I reach home, the porch light flickers once and steadies. The house, loyal as ever, seems to wait for instruction. I pour myself a glass of wine, open my laptop, and type the next item on my list. Prepare gala speech. Theme, transparency. The plan's unfolding beautifully. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rolls again, slow, approving, and ready for Act 2. By the week of the gala, the entire neighborhood has rehearsed its smiles. The invitation promises an evening of elegance and integrity, words that make me laugh every time I reread them. Barbara runs the event like a royal coronation, sending out seating charts and outfit reminders. I've been assigned to the publicity table, a decision I treat as a gift. It means a microphone, a crowd, and a platform. The community center glows with rented chandeliers. The smell of polished wood and nervous perfume fills the air. I walk in wearing the same emerald dress Daniel once said was too assertive. Tonight, I want it to be. Barbara greets guests at the door, her voice wrapped in honey and command. Daniel is at her side, a polite accessory. Jenna hovers near the silent auction table, pretending to study wine baskets. She's in shimmering silver, as if she wants to be both mirror and spotlight. Olivia waves from across the room, eyes sparkling with gossip. "Claire, you look incredible. Are you and Daniel okay now?" "Better than ever," I say. "We've reached a very productive phase." "Productive is good." She leans in. "Barbara's been nervous all week, something about paperwork." "Then we're both prepared," I reply. The night starts smoothly. Music, cocktails, speeches about community progress. I sit at the publicity table with my laptop and a glass of sparkling water. When the chair introduces me, I stand, smiling like every perfect neighbor who's ever baked cookies for approval. "Good evening," I begin. "Before we announce this year's donors, I'd like to thank everyone for supporting transparent partnerships. Our neighborhood thrives on honesty, between vendors, between families, between every home that lights up our streets." Barbara nods stiffly, sensing danger, but unable to interrupt yet. "We've all heard stories," I continue, "but tonight I want to celebrate one that turned transparency into empowerment." The screen behind me shifts to a slide I titled, "Case Study, Maid of No One." A few people lean forward, curious. I tell the story of Caribouille, Emily Rhodes, the Chicago wedding planner who discovered her fiancé had chosen his ex as maid of honor. How she quietly canceled everything, refunded the guests, billed him her share, and posted that now famous photo raising a glass to freedom. Dodged a lifetime mistake? Cheers to freedom. The room ripples with quiet laughter and murmured admiration. Everyone remembers the viral photo. Barbara's smile strains, uncertain if she's being complimented or warned. I move to the next slide, data charts. Within weeks, Emily's ex lost half his clientele. People notice when truth arrives with receipts. Someone claps. I let it build. So tonight, let's thank the neighbors who keep things honest. Those who log permits, who follow bylaws, who believe sunlight isn't something to fear. A polite wave of applause. I step back, hand off the mic, and breathe evenly. Daniel's eyes are fixed on me, unreadable. He knows this isn't random storytelling. As guests mingle, Barbara glides over. "Well," she says tightly, "that was creative." "Thank you." "Don't mistake attention for respect, dear. You've caused quite the stir with your documents." "I just enjoy paperwork," I say, "especially when it's mine." Her smile falters. "If you think embarrassing this family will end well—" "Barbara," I interrupt softly. "If you'd like to avoid embarrassment, maybe don't sign escrow transfers on HOA email servers." Color drains from her face. "What did you say?" "I have copies," I whisper. "Everyone should keep backups." Before she can answer, a reporter from the local paper interrupts, notebook ready. "Mrs. Whitman, any comment on the vendor overlap issue?" Barbara blinks. "What issue?" "The one from tonight's remarks," he says. "Residents mentioned dual contracts under your committee's oversight." "Oh," I say, smiling sweetly. "That's probably just a misunderstanding. Barbara's very thorough." The reporter scribbles, intrigued. Barbara glares at me as if I've rewritten gravity. I walk away before she recovers. Daniel catches up near the buffet. "What are you doing?" he hisses. "Networking. You're sabotaging us." "Correction," I say. "I'm exposing structural flaws before they collapse." "Do you even hear yourself?" "Perfectly." He exhales, frustrated. "Claire, listen. Whatever you think you found, Barbara was just trying to protect us. The escrow belonged to me," I cut in, "and I'll make sure it's mine again." He looks around, lowering his voice. "You're destroying everything." "Then maybe it wasn't worth keeping?" A camera flash pops near us. Jenna's watching from across the room, her phone tilted, pretending it's about lighting. I raise my glass toward her and smile. The gesture lands like a dare. Later, during the raffle, Barbara tries to reclaim control with a speech about unity. She stumbles halfway through when someone whispers about conflicts of interest. The murmurs spread like perfume, sweet at first, then cloying. Jenna moves toward Daniel, whispering urgently. He waves her off, face pale. The energy in the room shifts. Polite chaos, the kind where everyone smiles harder because they smell scandal. I step outside to the terrace for air. Rain threatens again, but doesn't commit. I can hear fragments through the glass doors. Barbara's brittle laugh. A guest asking for clarification. Daniel trying to steady his tone. It's working. The structure is bending, exactly as designed. When Daniel finally finds me, his tie is loose, hair damp with stress. "You think this is justice?" he says. "Public humiliation?" "It's communication," I answer. "Everyone's finally speaking the same language." He rubs his temples. "You don't even sound like yourself." "Maybe you never listened long enough to know what I sound like." He stares at me, then laughs. A quiet, hopeless sound. "You win, Claire." "Oh, I'm not done," I say. "You still have a company to explain and a house to defend?" "House?" "Check your calendar," I tell him. Tomorrow's your demo appointment." He frowns. "You invited the client to the house?" "I just confirmed it. After all, they should see the system in action." The realization hits him slowly, and then he understands. His shoulders stiffen. "Don't do anything stupid." "Stupid?" I say. "Never. Strategic?" "Absolutely." He leaves before I can say more. Barbara follows soon after, avoiding everyone's eyes. The music falters, the chatter thins. The gala doesn't so much end as dissolve. I wait until the hall empties, then walk back to the publicity table and pack my laptop. The screen still glowing faintly, the slide with Emily Rhodes frozen in place. Her raised glass catches the light. Cheers to freedom. As I shut the laptop, I catch my reflection in the dark window. Same posture, same calm expression, only the eyes are different. Steady, unblinking, sure. Outside, the night smells like rain again, like something waiting for release. Tomorrow's forecast says showers by noon. Perfect. I've always preferred a clean setting for a good reveal. When I reach home, the porch light flickers twice, a tiny glitch. It feels like applause. I unlock the door, step inside, and whisper to the quiet house. Almost there. Tomorrow, the demo, the finale. The truth staged exactly where it began. Morning sunlight looks too clean for what's coming. The house sits still, curtains drawn, pretending innocence. I move through it like a stagehand before curtain rise, checking cues, running wires, placing props. Daniel thinks this is a routine client showcase for his smart home systems. He texted Jenna to come early and handle presentation notes. Perfect. Every villain deserves an audience. By 11, everything hums in quiet readiness. The kitchen lights dim on command. The sprinklers are synced to motion. The speakers respond to a single, well-placed file name. Transparency Chuck Demo.mp4. The doorbell rings at 11:05. I open it to find Daniel in a tailored suit, Jenna at his side holding a tablet. Behind them stands the client, an older man with an evaluating gaze, clearly the type who likes order and hates surprises. "Mr. Green," Daniel says briskly. "This is my wife, Claire." "Pleasure," I say, smiling the smile that keeps secrets. They step inside. I watch Daniel move through the rooms, selling precision, lighting transitions, seamless control, security features. The house obeys him. For now. "This," he says, gesturing toward the panel by the kitchen, "is the interface we've refined from the Hollis system. Streamlined, elegant." "Impressive," Mr. Green says. "And your wife helps test all this?" "Claire's got the patience of a saint," Daniel says, chuckling. "Puts up with endless prototypes." I tilt my head. I'd call it field experience. He keeps going, unaware the show's about to turn. When he cues the final sequence, I tap the master control from my phone. The screen flashes, white, then blue, and the system pivots to the file I cued last night. Footage fills every display. Email screenshots, escrow drafts, invoices from Hollis Home Systems showing Barbara's signature beside his. A clear trail. Every file time-stamped. Daniel freezes mid-sentence. "What is this?" Mr. Green asks. "A transparency demo," I say lightly. "Proof that honesty is the most advanced system of all." "Claire, stop it," Daniel snaps. But the automation obeys me now, not him. The sprinklers activate outside, their rhythm visible through the window, steady, relentless. "Sir, this isn't—" Daniel starts, but the client raises a hand. "I don't do business with disorganized partnerships," Mr. Green says, voice flat. "Good day." He leaves, slow and deliberate. The door shuts behind him with perfect timing. Silence. except for the soft whir of the projector still looping Barbara's correspondence. Jenna rounds on me. "You've lost your mind." I meet her glare calmly. "I told you not to underestimate posted rules." "You ruined him. He handled that himself." She steps forward like she might slap me, then stops. "You're vindictive." "Correct," I say. "And thorough." Daniel's voice drops to a low growl. "You've destroyed everything." "No," I reply. "I've reclaimed it." He lunges toward the console, yanking cords. The screen cuts to black. "Get out," he says. "I will," I answer. "After I finish what you started." I pick up a folder from the counter, copies of the documents, stamped and notarized. These go to the board, the city, and your business partners, the same people who believed your half-story. They'll appreciate context. He stares at me, breathing hard. "You can't come back from this." "That's the point." I walk past him toward the door. Jenna mutters something sharp under her breath, but I don't listen. Outside, the sprinklers die mid-cycle, a neat fade-out. The sun breaks through the clouds just as I reach the car. My reflection glints in the window, hair damp, dress wrinkled, eyes steady. I drive slowly down Maple Ridge, past houses pretending nothing ever happens behind their curtains. The neighborhood looks perfect again. It always does after a storm. When I reach the main road, I check the rearview mirror one last time. Daniel stands in the driveway, suit-soaked, phone pressed to his ear. Jenna beside him, arms crossed, both framed by the flickering porch light that refuses to decide whether it wants to stay on. It doesn't matter. The system belongs to me now. I pull onto the open road, engine low and smooth, and whisper, "Cheers to freedom."